What if Ahsoka was with Anakin during Revenge of the Sith? That's our story for today. Hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right into it. Our story begins on Mandalore, during the initial siege of the planet. As things currently stand in the galaxy, there's a great battle going on across the galaxy on Coruscant. Chancellor Palpatine has been captured by General Grievous. Skywalker and Kenobi have been called back to the Republic's home planet in order to save him. At the same time, Bo-Katan and her Mandalorian loyalists are fighting back against the terrible occupation on their planet, led by Darth Maul. Bo went looking for help and was now returning to Mandalore with Ahsoka Tano and half of the 501st Legion, led by Commander Rex. And the group of clones and Mandalorians poured into the planet, where Maul was waiting for them. On the surface, Maul was standing in the castle with Prime Minister Olmec and his own Mandalorian loyalists. Maul knew an attack was inevitable, and he changed his own strategy many times, but eventually he settled on taking the Jedi on right as they land. Whether it's Skywalker or Kenobi, Maul was going to meet their assault head-on and destroy Sidious's long-term plans. Over the last couple weeks, Maul began having dreams or visions, and he was beginning to piece them together. He now knew for certain that his former master's plan involved the clone troopers, but more importantly, it involved Anakin Skywalker being the key to everything. So, he must die. And so Maul looked to the sky with his people as the clone gunships began emerging from the clouds, and the counter-assault was launched. Missiles were fired from the Mandalore hangar, aiming directly for the dozens of gunships, and Maul smiled to himself. The Jedi would not survive him. In the air, Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, and Rex were in one of the lead gunships when the one next to them was hit by a missile, exploding in a fiery storm. The three of them looked to each other, knowing the descent to the surface would not be easy, and they began flying through the air on jetpacks, with Ahsoka using the Force to leap from ship to ship, saving clone pilots, making her way to the surface. Maul watched as one Jedi flipped through the air, and he realized it was not Anakin, nor Obi-Wan. And so, when Ahsoka landed and ignited her two sabers, around 20 of Maul's Mandalorians began firing at her. Bo, Rex, and the other members of the ground assault landed behind Ahsoka, and through the smoke of blaster fire, everyone could see the double-bladed lightsaber of Maul ignite. He was angry and frustrated that neither of the Jedi he was expecting showed up, but he did know of Ahsoka. This was the Padawan of Skywalker, the friend of Kenobi, so he will kill her right now. The Mandalorian hangar echoed with the chaos of the new battle, blaster fire lighting up the shadows as Ahsoka now faced off against Maul. The former Sith leapt high into the air, spinning to land a powerful strike, his red blade slicing with dark power, cutting through the air as she quickly parried his strikes. Around the two fighters, the Mandalorians and the clones led by Bo and Rex fought hard against Maul's Mandalorians led by Gar Saxon. Blaster bolts whizzed by Ahsoka as explosions shook the ground, but Maul's forces were losing. They expected Bo to come back with the Jedi. They didn't expect her to return with the greatest clone legion in the entire Grand Army. But they stood their ground, fighting back, quickly dying out. Gar Saxon soon got into a fight with Rex, and the last thing he would ever see was the barrel of Rex's pistol. Back in the duel, Ahsoka was using Maul's agility against him. With each flip Maul attempted, Ahsoka copied the move and moved in for her own series of strikes. She knew Maul from many stories from Obi-Wan during the war. When they weren't in battle versus the droids, Ahsoka had asked Kenobi all about Maul, and Obi-Wan talked about his strengths and his weaknesses in battle. The two of them continued to move through the large hangar, the sound of battle between clones and Mandalorians fading as the Republic was winning, and Ahsoka could feel Maul growing more angry, more frustrated, and she just let him go down this spiraling path. Maul flipped through the air, and Ahsoka barely blocked and started dodging the fast strikes of Maul's twin sabers, her own blades creating a blue barrier against him. As the fight escalated, Ahsoka used the Force to propel herself into the air, executing a powerful flip over Maul. She landed behind him, but he anticipated her move, spinning with a deadly swipe, barely missing her spine. Ahsoka rolled away just in time, her heart racing, as she felt the hum of energy from Maul. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught Ahsoka's eye. Bo-Katan and Captain Rex, working in unison, positioned themselves strategically across the hangar. Ahsoka realized what they were doing, and she guided Maul into their path, and in a synchronized motion, they both fired a cable that wrapped tightly around Maul's legs, momentarily disrupting his balance. Seizing the opportunity, Ahsoka surged forward, channeling all of her strength into a blow that she connected with, knocking Maul to the ground. He went unconscious. The Republic won immediately on the opening siege. and over the next couple of hours, Bo-Katan, Rex, and the 501st would spread into Mandalore to make sure it was secure from Maul's rule, while Ahsoka and some other Mandalorians put Maul into the Mandalorian prison vault, making him ready to be transported back to Coruscant. The mission went exactly as everyone would have hoped, and Maul was soon loaded onto the Republic Venator with the clones as the Venator rose to take off. Bo thanked Ahsoka for the help, saying Mandalore will be open to becoming part of the Republic when this war is over. When the ship was in hyperspace, Ahsoka tried to contact Anakin, but after a few tries of not getting any response, she contacted Obi-Wan instead, and Obi-Wan took the message aboard his own Venator that was preparing to take off for Utapau, where he was being sent to take on General Grievous, and hopefully bring an end to this war once and for all. Ahsoka told Obi-Wan that she has captured Maul, and he is now being brought to the Jedi Temple. Obi-Wan said this is good, and he asked if Maul told her anything. Ahsoka, confused, said no, saying they only fought one large battle before subduing Maul. And Obi-Wan said that perhaps they can learn more about the Sith Lord Darth Sidious from Maul, if Sidious was his master at the beginning of all of this like they suspected. Ahsoka asked if there is anyone else besides Maul that they can ask, and Obi-Wan said that Dooku was the last hope for that, but Anakin killed him while rescuing the Chancellor. Ahsoka's eyes went wide. Dooku being dead was a huge swing in the war, and she was surprised that Anakin finally did it after all this time. And Obi-Wan told Ahsoka that Anakin is troubled. He's on special assignment from the Jedi Council. Ahsoka inclined her head, asking Obi-Wan what kind of assignment, and Obi-Wan revealed that Anakin has been instructed to basically spy on Chancellor Palpatine, as he has remained in office far after his term has expired, and the Council needs to know his true intentions. Ahsoka did not like this, telling Obi-Wan that Palpatine has been nothing but a mentor and a friend to Anakin, and Obi-Wan said he knows, and he agrees. He said the Council is not always right, and that is why Anakin will need her when she returns. Ahsoka nodded, telling Obi-Wan she will be with him, but she cannot defend the Council's actions, and Obi-Wan thanked her before ending the hologram, and soon taking off for Utapau. Ahsoka closed her eyes, hoping Anakin was alright. Clearly he was going through a lot right now, and she hoped she could help him with all of it. The trip through hyperspace was very long from Mandalore to Coruscant, but eventually the Venator with her and Maul on it finally emerged above Coruscant, and preparations were made to transport the high-security prisoner into the planet. Inside of the temple, Mace Windu, Anakin Skywalker, and holograms of Yoda, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Aayla Secura stood around a data table when the hologram of Ahsoka came into view. She informed them that they are descending to the temple with Maul, and the Jedi told her that she has done well. Maul could be the key to all of this. And seconds later, the hologram of Commander Cody appeared as well, informing all of the Jedi that Obi-Wan has engaged General Grievous. This was good, and Windu turned to Anakin, requesting that he go to Palpatine and inform him that Maul has been captured and that Obi-Wan is fighting Grievous. His reaction to both of these key moves will be extremely telling for his true intentions. Anakin nodded, then turned to Ahsoka's hologram and gave a small but sad smile, and she gave one back before Anakin left. And the prison transport was loaded up onto the Venator, with Ahsoka and 8 Coruscant Guard clones loading Maul onto the transport and descending towards the temple. The sun was setting here on Coruscant, and as they entered the stream of traffic, Ahsoka just had an eerie feeling about everything. It felt as if the galaxy were shifting into a new era, but there was no telling whether it would be the light or the dark, and the sun setting on the planet was ominous for what could be coming. The prison transport soon landed in the Jedi Temple hangar, and Ahsoka guided Maul out of it. Windu, Kit Fisto, Agan Kolar, and Saesee Tiin were waiting here along with a group of temple guards. Windu instructed the guards to take Maul down into the temple prison cells, but before they could go anywhere, Anakin landed his speeder back in the temple, and ran out of it to tell the Jedi the horrible news he has just learned. In his meeting with Palpatine, he revealed the truth. Palpatine is Sidious. All of the Jedi, including Ahsoka here, were too stunned to speak. This was always something they knew to be a possibility, but being faced with this reality was frightening. And inside of his cell, Maul heard this, and he knew Sidious's plans were escalating. And suddenly the latch on his vault was opened, and Windu ignited his purple blade, pointing it at Maul, asking him what Sidious is planning. Maul turned to look at Anakin, laughing lightly, and saying that Skywalker is the key to everything. Maul closed his eyes, and he said that he can feel Anakin's darkness. Clearly, Sidious has done well to unlock it. Anakin used the Force to lock the clasp across Maul's mouth, saying that they've heard enough from him. and Windu said that Palpatine must be arrested immediately, gathering Kit Fisto, Sazitin, and Aegon Kolar onto a transport. Anakin walked with them, but Windu told Anakin to wait here, go with Ahsoka down to the temple cells, make sure Maul is kept there. They will need him to testify the truth about Palpatine to the Senate. Anakin hated the idea of not going with the Jedi to help arrest Palpatine, but he had to follow orders. So Anakin watched them go, then turned back to Ahsoka, Maul, and the temple guards. Ahsoka grabbed Anakin's arm and told him everything will be alright, and Anakin smiled down to her as they began walking the halls. Anakin did miss Ahsoka. She was truly like his sister, and having her here did help calm his nerves. But one of the temple guards had snuck off to the side and used his secure comlink to contact Palpatine. This temple guard had been working with Palpatine for a while now, and was in line to become the Grand Inquisitor when the Empire rises. And this temple guard informed Palpatine that the 4 Jedi Masters are headed to his office, while Anakin and Ahsoka are occupied taking Maul to the temple prison. Palpatine was discouraged by this. He expected the Jedi to either bring Anakin with them, or leave him alone, giving Anakin no choice but to come find him. But Anakin being actually occupied would present a bit of a challenge, so Palpatine gave the temple guard new instructions on how to turn things in their favor. As Maul was being escorted through the temple guard grabbed some explosives from the temple hangar and followed closely behind. When Anakin, Ahsoka, and Maul arrived at the temple cells, the Inquisitor went into action. He planted one of the explosives in the lights, and soon set it off. The explosion rocked the prison center, and the lights went out, making things completely dark. Anakin and Ahsoka recovered from the explosion, igniting their lightsabers, moving towards where the explosion went off. There was debris littering the ground, and the two of them could hear muffled screams from underneath it. So Anakin and Ahsoka worked together, lifting up the broken walls covering the Jedi and the temple workers, freeing them right as the temple emergency lights came on. And when more Jedi arrived to help, Anakin and Ahsoka ran back towards Maul's vault. But to their dismay, it was empty, and surrounding the vault were 5 dead temple guards, killed by a lightsaber. Both Anakin and Ahsoka looked to each other, knowing exactly what was going on. Somehow, Palpatine freed Maul. The two of them began returning to a speeder, knowing that Windu and the others were in danger. They hopped into it and began flying through Coruscant, the cool night air whipping past them, as Anakin flew through the traffic, speeding past everyone, and soon landing the speeder at the window of Palpatine's office. And inside of the office, there were dead bodies covering the floor. Fisto, Kolar, and Tin were cut down by lightsabers, and a temple guard, aka the Grand Inquisitor, was dead in the middle hallway between the rooms. Mace Windu was facing down both Maul and Sidious after killing the Grand Inquisitor. When the explosion in the temple went off, the Inquisitor freed Maul and told him that Sidious has a place for him in the new Empire, so he gave Maul the choice of going with him or dying in the temple. And Maul had no choice. He went with the guard. And now as Windu was cornered by Maul and Sidious, he knew this may be the end. But from behind the two Sith came Anakin and Ahsoka. All of Anakin's thoughts about Padme were being put on hold. He saw the death and the destruction that the Sith were bringing upon the Jedi. The temple bombing moments ago that killed a few Jedi, Fisto, Kolar, and Tin gutted in the office. Anakin was seeing now that the Sith promising to save life was a complete lie. So Anakin ignited his lightsaber, the blade illuminating his newly determined face, while Ahsoka ignited both of her blades, and Windu's expression shifted from defeated to strong, as his desire to win was reignited. With a sudden rush, Maul angrily lunged forward, his own red blades whirling in a deadly move, and Ahsoka met his attack. Maul growled that she doesn't have the clone in the Mandalorian to stop him this time, and they moved through the office, their lightsabers clashing with a brilliant flash, echoing through the ornate rooms. Windu engaged Sidious once more, their movements a fierce set of strikes against each other, as Windu's deep, calculated attacks in Vapad challenged the Sith Lord, who countered by only pouring more darkness into his attacks. He would simply overwhelm Windu. Anakin flanked Sidious, and the Sith Lord barked out that Anakin must choose the dark side, or forever lose the one he loves. But Anakin had already made his choice. He would not lose the light side inside of him, nor would he lose Padme, and he struck at Sidious with Windu. The office was a battleground of strong, swinging blades and crackling energy, and Sidious would unleash waves of force lightning that would arc into the night sky, but Mace absorbed it into his own blade, redirecting the energy towards Maul. Maul was hit by it, and he fell to the floor, as Ahsoka and Anakin coordinated their attacks, moving around Maul to slice his blade in half. In a climactic moment, Mace delivered a devastating strike on Sidious, while Ahsoka and Anakin executed a perfectly timed combination on Maul, sending both Sith tumbling backwards. And at one moment, Mace Windu and Anakin Skywalker sliced through the midsections of both Sidious and Maul. Both Sith gasped and fell into two pieces, falling out of the window to die in the dark Coruscant night. And the three Jedi were left here, breathing heavily. Ahsoka ran up to Anakin, hugging him, as she never imagined being put into the middle of a situation like this. And Anakin hugged her back, thankful she was here to help him stay in the lights. Over the next few hours, Anakin and Windu would visit with Padme and the delegation of 2000, laying everything out about Palpatine, while Ahsoka and a few others gathered evidence from the temple, including security recordings from the temple where the Inquisitor spoke with Palpatine and placed the explosives, and then also the recordings from Palpatine's office. Both would have been erased had Palpatine's plan gone according to plan, but now that he was gone, the Jedi were able to present this evidence and begin the process of installing a new Chancellor. With this revelation, a lot of the senators were supportive of Padme. She was often the main opposition to Palpatine in these chambers, and today she was proven right, so she was put into place to bring an end to this war. Not long after, Padme would give birth, with an absurdly stressed Anakin Skywalker nearby, along with Ahsoka and Obi-Wan keeping company, and Padme would live after birthing the twins, Luke and Leia. After a few weeks on Naboo with Anakin just getting away from everything, she would help guide the Republic through the final days of the Clone Wars, and in time, the Jedi Order would welcome students Luke and Leia to be trained by Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, as Chancellor Amidala worked to keep peace in the Republic, with Anakin by her side for many years to come. And folks, that is our story for today. I really wanted to get Maul involved in this one way or another, like just the, I feel like I've done something with Ahsoka, Anakin, just being here before Order 66 and all that, so the key here was to really get Maul involved, and I thought there was a good way to do that with, Ahsoka kind of convincing or helping Anakin to stay in the temple while the Jedi go fight Palpatine. And that requires Palpatine to kind of search elsewhere for help. He's got the Inquisitor in the temple to just basically go to Maul and free him. And yeah, that's where we go from there. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you want to see next. I've got a lot of ideas written down. A lot of my ideas are the ones I've written down, like ones that just take longer to write because they're more, I don't know what's complex. Just, they're coming. Got some fun videos coming on the way. So hope you guys enjoy. Please let me know what you think. Leave a like. Helps a lot. If you just hit that like button right now. Thank you. I saw you just do it. That was cool. I appreciate you. And of course, hit the subscribe button right now. Sweet. Thanks. Thanks for pushing those buttons. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next video.